Welcome back to WikiLert.
Rick Davies, born Richard Davies on July 22, 1944, in Swindon, England, was a self-taught musical prodigy whose love for the craft started young. Growing up in a working-class family, his mother Betty ran a hair salon, and his father Dick was a merchant Navy man who passed away in 1973. Davies found solace in music early on. At 8 years old, his parents gifted him a second-hand radiogram with a few records, sparking a passion for jazz, blues, and rock and roll. He attended Sanford Street School, where, as his mother later recalled, music was the only thing he was any good at. Davies started as a drummer, forming his first band, Rick's Blues, which included a young Gilbert O'Sullivan on drums, the future hitmaker of Alone Again, naturally credited Davies as an early mentor. By his late teens, Davies had shifted to keyboards, honing a distinctive style on the Wurlitzer electric piano that would become Supertramp's signature sound, raspy and soulful, contrasting sharply with the lighter tenor of his future songwriting partner, Roger Hodgson. Davies' path to Supertramp was a mix of grit and opportunity. In 1969, after playing in bands like The Joint, he placed an ad in the music magazine Melody Maker seeking musicians for a new group. Roger Hodgson, a guitarist, vocalist, and keyboardist from a more privileged background, responded, and despite their differences, Davies' working-class roots versus Hodgson's private school upbringing, they clicked instantly. On a musical level, they started as Daddy before renaming to Supertramp in January 1970, inspired by W.H. Davies' book The Autobiography of a Supertramp. Signing with A&M Records, they released their self-titled debut in 1970, a progressive rock effort that didn't chart but showed promise. Their second album, indelibly stamped in 1971, featured more Hodgson-led vocals, but it was the third, Crime of the Century in 1974, that broke them through. Davies penned and sang Bloody Well Right, a track that hit the US Top 40 and showcased his deeper, gravelly baritone, setting the tone for Supertramp's blend of prog complexity and pop accessibility. The classic lineup solidified in 1973 with bassist Dougie Thompson, drummer Bob Siebenberg, and saxophonist John Helliwell, creating a stable unit that lasted a decade. Supertramp's sound evolved from experimental prog to radio-friendly rock, with Davies and Hodgson sharing songwriting and vocals, Davies handling the rockier, earthier tracks while Hodgson leaned melodic. Their 1977 album, Even in the Quietest Moments, brought Give a Little Bit, but 1979's Breakfast in America was the pinnacle, topping the US charts for 6 weeks and selling over 20 million copies worldwide. Davies wrote and sang Goodbye Stranger, a top 10 hit, and contributed to the album's core, including his answering lyrics in the second chorus of Hodgson's The Logical Song. The record's success, 3 top 10 singles, Grammy nominations, and diamond status in Canada cemented Supertramp as a global force, with Davies' Wurlitzer riffs becoming as iconic as Hodgson's falsetto. But cracks formed. By 1983, after the album, famous last words, creative and personal differences boiled over, with Hodgson leaving to pursue solo work. Davies, now the sole frontman, kept Supertramp going, releasing Brother Where You Bound in 1985 and Free as a Bird in 1987, but the magic without Hodgson was harder to recapture. The band went on hiatus after a 1988 tour, reuniting in 1997 for Some Things Never Change and Slow Motion in 2002, Davies handling most vocals and writing. They toured sporadically, including a 2010 70-10 anniversary run, but health issues loomed. In 2015, Davies was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, a rare blood cancer affecting bone, marrow, and white blood cells, forcing the cancellation of a European tour. He underwent aggressive treatment, including chemotherapy and stem cell transplants, and by 2018, he shared in a rare interview that he'd mostly overcome it, even performing as Ricky and the Rockets with local musicians. He continued occasional shows, like one in June 2022 at the Stephen Talkhouse in Amagansett, New York, but the cancer's toll was evident. He couldn't tour as Supertramp after 2016 due to the demands. Davies' personal life was marked by devotion and quiet strength. He married Sue Pendrell in 1977. She's been Supertramp's manager since 1984 and was by his side through his illness. They lived on Long Island, New York, where Davies owned Rick Davies Productions, holding the copyrights to Supertramp's recordings. His mother, Betty, passed in 2008, and he made annual Christmas trips to visit her until then. Davies was known for his warmth offstage, a resilience that shone through his health battles. Even after Hodgson's 1983 exit led to legal disputes over royalties, settled in 2023 after a 2021 lawsuit by bandmates Thompson, Hallowell, and Siebenberg, Davies focused on the music, stating in interviews that Supertramp was about the songs, not the drama. The cause of Davies' death was complications from multiple myeloma, which he'd battled for over a decade. Diagnosed in 2015, the cancer, a form of blood cancer that weakens the immune system and bones, required aggressive treatment that sidelined him from touring. By 2018, he'd shared optimism, saying he enjoyed playing again after a rough 2016. But the disease persisted, and on September 5, 2025, Davies passed peacefully at his Long Island home, surrounded by family. Supertramp's statement on September 7th confirmed it, reading, "The Supertramp partnership is very sad to announce the death of the Supertramp founder, Rick Davies, after a long illness." Rick passed away at his home on Long Island on September 5th. We had the privilege of knowing him and playing with him for over 50 years. We offer our sincere condolences to Sue Davies. They highlighted his soulful vocals and Wurlitzer touch as the band's heartbeat, noting, "Rick's music and legacy continue to inspire many and bears testament to the fact that great songs never die, they live on." Tributes poured in from the music world and fans alike. Composer Bear McCreary posted on social media, tearfully celebrating the life and music of Supertramp's Rick Davies. A generational talent, he wrote Bloody Well Right, one of the most iconic songs of the decade, sending condolences and gratitude to his family. SiriusXM host Eric Alper shared, "Rick Davies, founder of Supertramp, has passed away at 81 after a decade-long battle with multiple myeloma." His soulful voice and touch on the Wurlitzer shaped timeless songs like Bloody Well Right and Goodbye Stranger. A true legend. The Terry and Ted podcast remembered R.I.P. Rick Davies, co-founder of Supertramp, a band that had a special connection with Montreal and was part of the city's soundtrack. In the 1970s and 80s, a Supertramp fan account posted a black and white photo with Rick Davies 1944 to 2025. "We have lost a true talent. Rest in much peace, Mr. Davies." Radio DJ Laura Steele added, "Goodbye, stranger, it's been nice. Hope you find your paradise." Rick Davies of Supertramp 1944 to 2025, thanks for the great tunes. Australian influencer Punt Road shared a performance video, captioning, "Farewell Rick Davies, founding member of Supertramp. Why does this loss hit so hard?" Davies was the steady force behind Supertramp, the guy who kept the band alive after Hodgson's departure, turning what could have been a one-hit wonder era into a 50-year legacy. His raspy baritone on tracks like Goodbye Stranger, a top 10 hit from Breakfast in America, and Bloody Well Right gave the band its rock edge, balancing Hodgson's lighter melodies. Supertramp's sales topped 60 million albums, with Breakfast in America alone selling 20 million and topping the US charts for 6 weeks. Davies' Wurlitzer riffs were unmistakable, driving songs like The Logical Song, where he added the answering refrain, and defining prog pop. His resilience, battling cancer while still performing as Ricky and the Rockets, made him a symbol of endurance. Fans on social media are sharing memories, one posting, "Rick. Davies' voice on Goodbye Stranger got me through tough times. RIP." Reddit threads with hundreds of upvotes reminisce about live shows, one user saying, "Supertramp. Without Davies? Unthinkable. His grit held it together." Davies' story is one of quiet determination. From Swindon's working-class streets to global stages, he built an empire without chasing the spotlight like Hodgson. Legal battles over royalties with Hodgson and bandmates showed the band's fractures, but Davies focused on the music, releasing Slow Motion in 2002 and touring sporadically. His 2015 cancer diagnosis canceled a European run, but by 2018, he was back, performing locally. His final years were spent with Sue, sharing 5 decades of marriage, and his death at home was peaceful after a decade-long fight. Supertramp's statement captured it. Beyond the stage, Rick was known for his warmth, resilience, and devotion to his wife Sue. After facing serious health challenges, which kept him unable to continue touring as Supertramp, he enjoyed performing with his hometown buds as Ricky and the Rockets. The music world's reeling, but Davies' legacy is unbreakable. Supertramp's influence on prog rock and pop endures, with albums like Crime of the Century, 1974, and Breakfast in America, 1979, as timeless classics. His songs, co-written with Hodgson but often led by his voice, continue to inspire, proving great songs never die. Fans are streaming his hits, with one ex-post saying, "Cranking bloody well right in honor of Rick Davies. What a legend." Reddit users are sharing stories, one writing, "Davies' Wurlitzer on Goodbye Stranger is pure magic. Gone, but not forgotten." As tributes continue, his impact on rock history shines brighter. What do you think? How will Supertramp's music live on without Davies? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like if you're feeling this loss, and subscribe for more music legacies. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for rocking with me. Rest in peace, Rick. Your songs will echo forever.